hey, here's your, the heads up, making space. But it's nothing to do about, it's making space inside in a way that creating the emotions you want to fire off inside you, the state of being that you want to be, that is most appropriate to what you want to do. So whether it's daydreaming, whether it's thinking, resolving issues, solving problems, making changes to the way you want to be, new behaviors, then we need to have the right state. And this is what it's all about. It doesn't matter where you are, you can do it whenever you need. No excuses now. Have a listen after this. Hey, this is the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, where we use hypnosis. Yeah, hypnosis. NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Don't worry what it is. It's just a mass of processes that we're going to get you to change. Change to let go of anxiety, low self-esteem, and create massive supreme inner confidence. But that's confidence in your competence and competence in your confidence, which means you can do anything and be safe, to enjoy the world as it should be, with you at the helm, creating the life that you want. That's what this podcast is about. You and being the best you could be, singing from your real voice, aligned with your mission, aligned with your passions. That's what it's about. So if you're interested in letting go of anxiety, if you're interested in letting go of fear, guilt, all those blooming syndromes, imposter syndromes, and every little bit of the mind which is negative, then have a listen here, because we've got some wonderful processes and lots of good conversations between you and me to get us both thinking in such wonderful ways. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Just take the chance to have a listen.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, friend. The question is, how often do you take time to daydream? And this is not the daydreaming, believing thing that I did. And I think that's hashtag 371. Because, I love daydreaming. But how often we talked about daydreaming, how to do it and things like that. But how often do you take time out to actually do it? Or put another way, how often do you take time to think, resolve issues? Think about changes that you want to do. Your own personal development. You're just making changes to make a better you. So this is what I'm talking about this time. So it's not just about daydreaming. It's about taking the time out. Now, I guess, if you're like me, we all know that we should. We should take time out to think. Time to resolve issues, think about the changes we're going to make, maybe just daydream. Because putting the two together, I think daydreaming actually helps you solve problems, because you see things from a different perspective. And I think we should, and we do should all over ourselves occasionally, we know that we should schedule this and do it regularly, and then review the changes. It's not bloody rocket science, is it? It's pretty simple. Well, it is simple. And we all know in simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Now, some people would tell you it's not the environment that you need. And some will give you an excuse that it is the environment. Have you done that? Oh, I can't do it because this is the wrong environment. I've got to have the right things. But other people would say, well, actually, if you've got the right intention, you will do it and focus anywhere, any place. And you see, we're both right, because it is and it isn't. Environment does make a difference, and environment doesn't make a difference. What? Well, I can hear you say that now. What is he on about now? You see, there's a great guy in NLP. He was one of the, not the originators, but he was with the originators as they developed it. A guy called Robert Dilts. And he's awesome. He's the guy I did my trainer's training with. And he brought to our attention something he called logical levels or neurological levels. Now, I'm not going to baffle you with all of that. I just want you to imagine this, though. Imagine a triangle with its widest bit at the bottom and the narrow bit at the top. So it's a triangle. And it's split horizontally. Imagine there was like 5 layers. And at the bottom, we would write environment, where you do your stuff. And then the layer just above that, we're going to label that behaviors. That's the stuff you do just above the environment where you're going to do it. And then just above that, we're going to write skills, capabilities. They're the things that you've learned or learned. And because once you've learned and got the skills, you can do the stuff, which is the behaviors in the environment down below. And then just above those 3, and it's getting narrower now, isn't it, at the top, because we're one below the top now. The layer there is beliefs and values. What's important to us, to you, to me, and the beliefs that we hold. And really importantly, the beliefs about our identity. And that's the top bit. That little bit is our identity. So identity creates the beliefs about us and the things that are important. They're very close together, aren't they? The things we believe and hold true to ourselves may not be true, but we think they're true. The things that are important to us, our values, some people might call them, again, maybe morals as well in there. And they're going to affect what we learn, our capabilities, and our beliefs and values also affect the skills that we've got to do them. Because if we don't believe sometimes we're good enough, we might have the skill, but we just won't do it. We've seen people who are superb athletes, and you know they could rock it, but they don't have that belief in themselves, or maybe it's not important to be that winner. We've seen it in maybe in us, where we've learnt something, yet we've got this belief that we shouldn't be here. I'm not good enough. I'm an imposter. And then we create that as an important value that we're not going to get hurt. And it's all right. That's where therapy comes in and lets it go. And then we've got the environment where we do all this stuff, or don't, as the case may be. And you see, above that, and we're not going to talk about that, is your connection to everywhere else, the spirit, whatever you believe in. But it's this multiverse, whatever you believe in, that's what you're connected to. So going down from the top is, as I said, the identity, your identity, that keeps your beliefs and values, what's important to you, which directs your learning of skills, which allows you to direct your behaviors. And so that, when you've got it all in one, you can actually do it everywhere and anywhere, in any environment. But that's when they're aligned. Boom. Everything is aligned. Your beliefs, your values are aligned with your identity. And therefore you keep learning and you believe in yourself that you can use those skills and you can do it anywhere. I'll give you a very quick example. When you first start learning hypnosis and hypnotherapy, you have to have the quiet room. No noise whatsoever. And you have to have that music just at the right level in the background. And it has to be perfect. Because if it isn't, if there's an interruption, that's it, it's gone. That's what you think when you start. Because you haven't got that true belief in yourself that you can just do this. But when you can do it, and you believe you can do it, and you believe you're going to make a difference, and it is important to help make a difference, you can do this blooming stuff anywhere. In a bar, in a pub, in the park. Sometimes in our clinics, we have the the bin men come round and make a noise, and we just say, well, there's all your stuff, just taking it away to the tip now. Crashing away. It doesn't matter. Even when the telephone rings because we're making a connection. Or we just ignore it because we're working at a really good level. And you just become aligned, so you can actually do it anywhere. You see, and when we're not, when we know we've got skills, and we do know, you can find you're out of alignment. But when we bring them back, we're congruent again. Our words, behaviours, the skills, identity, beliefs and values all just come in as one. And that means then the environment is not important. But, I don't like a but. Let's have a well. not a well to throw money in and things like that. It's just well, what if, do you like a what if? I love a what if. What if we can create an environment that promotes your behaviours, increases your skills, your capabilities, supports those beliefs and values that truly support you and gives you motivation to create the real best version of yourself, the identity of who you really are. That might be good, mightn't it? Not to say you're going to do it, you have to have it, but something that just occasionally, if you're just feeling a little bit out of alignment, you can come back. So you can make a space comfortable, any space, that's the thing, any space comfortable. So what I'm talking about is making our internal environment the best. You see, if you've got your internal environment, the way you feel, if you feel comfortable anywhere, you've created the environment. And how do you do that? I'm not going to just leave you there. Oh, well, how the hell do you do that, Cluffy? Well, you see, NLP uses a process of anchoring, stimulus and response. Something stimulates you to respond in a particular way, and thereby creating and recreating the right attitude, the right state, the right emotion. You see, everything, and that's a big generality, is anchoring basically affects everything in our lives. You see, think about a song that suddenly comes on the radio or just comes to you. You're walking around, that song comes in you just go, you go back. If it's there was an important event when that music was playing, you just go back to that memory or go back to that feeling. If you see something as you're going past, you go, that reminds me. How did it remind you? Well, it's anchored. And that anchor is the stimulus and response. So here's how you're going to do it. So I want to give you the good hows. So if you want to think about, how am I going to create this how do I want to feel? Now, maybe it could be focus. I need focus of attention. Or it could be, this is what I thought of, when I learned something great. I had an aha moment. Because that's pretty good. When you have that aha moment, you just feel awesome. I don't say that word very rarely now. But either focus or when I had an aha moment. Just you think about that time. Don't even need to close your eyes unless there's something which is going to distract you. And you just think about that time. And imagine going back into that memory. And you go back into that memory and you'd see what you saw. You hear what you heard. There may even be a smell and a taste in that memory. They're the things you're experiencing through all your senses. And then that feeling, the emotion of that aha moment, or the emotion of what you felt when you were truly focused. And then you'd anchor it. How do you anchor it? We've talked about. I've even got anchoring, I think, on my free hypnosis. Where'd you get that from, Cluffy? I'll tell you now. paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Go there, get a little email with a link, boom, you've got it. And I'm sure there's anchoring on there. But basically all you're going to do is touch yourself in a particular way, a specific way, an unusual way. So it can be sometimes a squeezing of a finger and a thumb together. That's how we teach it initially, but then it could be on a knuckle, could be the inside of your hand. And as you're feeling that feeling, as it gets more and more intense, you put pressure on that special place. Finger and thumb together, maybe, finger and little finger. So you've got the thumb, the little finger, and as you feel that feeling get more intense, you squeeze that feeling, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Not so you squeeze your finger off, but just squeeze it in a special way. And you might even say a word like, this is focus, or yeah, my ha-ha, this is it. And put the two together. And then you might want to do that a couple more times. So maybe there's another time you had focus, or maybe there was another time you had that aha moment. And you go back to that time, see what you saw, hear what you heard, smell and taste, feel that feeling, and squeeze the same finger and thumb together. So you're really getting those feelings. If you haven't got more than one, do the same one again. Repeat it. And maybe repeat it just a few times. It doesn't take very long. All you have to do is when that feeling is of the really intense, squeeze your finger and thumb together, and as it begins to fade, because it will, take your finger and thumb apart, because we don't want it fading, not in our anchor. We want it nice and strong. As it's getting stronger and stronger, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. As it fades, let it go. How simple is that? Now, what you can do on top of that, you might want to think, well, that's focus, Paul. Or that's my aha moment. But I wanted something else. Because if I'm going to start doing this work anywhere, there's maybe more states I'd like to have. Maybe it's curiosity. Or that one time when I learned something special. Or when I was really calm. Whatever you think of. See, and what you do is you think, aha, like, not an aha moment, but you think, okay, I'm going to go to curiosity. When was the time that I was so curious and I found something good? I learned something good. Oh yeah, there's one. And you go back to that memory, same thing, go back to that memory, see what you saw. So you're going into your body again, seeing what you saw, hearing what you heard, the smell and the taste. And as you feel the feelings that you're feeling of being curious, of finding something new, squeeze that same finger and thumb together. Ah, I like that. Give it a name, because you'll find that you're now stacking that anchor. Wow. Now, so that's just using kinesthetic feelings. Okay, there's smell and taste and things like that. But it's really, that is to get the feeling. What could you add to that? Maybe there's a piece of music that connects with this. Oh, well, I really do get this music. And I'm not saying you're going to take that music with you, but you could. A lot of people, I know there are writers who will listen to a loop of music over and over again while they're writing, because it just takes them to that place of flow and focus. But if you haven't got that, maybe you listen to that music and get into that connection with the music that makes you feel so good, so relaxed, maybe so it just adds and gives you more to the anchor. And as you're playing that music, listen to it. And again, squeeze the same finger and thumb together. Say that word, the word that is connected to this anchor. Again, now you're stacking an auditory anchor to this. And when you do that, the thing is, when you fire the anchor off, which we will do when we, in any environment, we'll start to fire the anchor off by squeezing that finger and thumb together. You'll go into that state, and that state will be either all the states which have been stacked plus the feeling of the music. Or the good thing is, if you did take that music with you again, say you had it on your phone, put your earbuds in or whatever, and you just play that music will be an auditory anchor to fire off those feelings, because they're now connected. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I've said it twice now. Now you can even add something even more powerful to this. Do you want to learn what that is? You see, some people would say, and I think if they're right, that smell, the aroma of something, a sense of smell, can be really powerful. You get a smell. Why do you think they, in a big supermarket, they pump that blooming baking smell to the front door? Oh, that feels, I've got it. And you go back to a lovely, and you have to go and buy a piece of that lovely baked bread. Or is that just me? I don't know. But a smell will take you back, especially if it's unique. So what you could do is you get those little bottles, don't you, of oils, those smelling oils, not this, the smelling, what salt, was it? Whatever they do for boxes and things like that, smelling salts. You don't want that because that'll blow your head off. But if you had something which is you don't normally smell to, it could be maybe a nice lavender, an orange, a particular smell that you think that is so unique. I very rarely get that smell anywhere at all. So you buy that little vial of liquid, and what you do is you start to smell from that bottle. And as you do that, you fire that anchor, maybe even play the music at the same time and fire that anchor off again. So you're firing off the kinesthetics, the feelings, the word. You're having the music and this smell. Wow. Now, you've got everything is unique there, isn't it? And you hold that anchor every time when you're trying to set that anchor, or not trying, when you're setting that anchor, you want to hold that feeling, that smell, that music, at least hold that anchor for about 10 to 15 seconds. It will then start to disappear probably after that. And then you let your fingers go and just keep rinsing and repeating. So take that smell. Fire that anchor off, say that smell, get that feeling. Because that's all you have to do. It's amazing. So what that means is then, if you're in an environment which isn't quite so conducive, fire that anchor off. If you've got that little smelling bottle, take a smell of that scent. It will take you into that wonderful feeling that you've set. And what did it take to do? It took probably about 10 minutes to set up. And if you know you're going to a coffee shop or something like that to do some work, you can take that little smelling glass of whatever it is, smelling oils, pop it in to your bag, your pocket or whatever. And it's there for you. Just a quick smell. And you're back. Fire off the anchor at the same time. But each one will work individually as well. That's the beauty of an anchor. So if you hear the music, you'll come back. You fire off the anchor, the feeling, And what will happen is, and this is a great thing about anchors, is after a while, you might forget. So you go into your coffee shop or where you're working, it's a bit noisy. But the mere fact that you're going to do that particular work, that in the past you have fired off the anchor each time, your unconscious mind recognizes this is a place where we're going to focus. This is a place we're going to do work. This is where it's important to make changes, to think, to daydream. And it will automatically use that setting now as an anchor to set off those focused aha feelings, the one you love, that gets you to do the work. Amazing. It is amazing. And my thought about this was, this my meta thought is basically anything that helps. So you can just play around with this to find the most great anchor for you. So it could be just playing a piece of music at the end. Boom, it comes. Take a little sniff of smelling that scent. Squeezing that finger and thumb together. That's it. And the thing is, what was the reason for me sharing this bit? One thing is to show you how we can easily affect and enhance our learnings, our time to think, change our state, how easy it is. Because what you're doing is you're not changing the environment, you're changing your state. into that focused learning state. And that's why I say a time when you learn something, because you're going to think about things. You want to learn about yourself. I hope you feel, oh, I want to do that. I wonder what else we could do. Get curious. And I'd like to know if you do this, how well it worked and what happened and what else. Maybe you did something slightly different. Maybe it was a different type of memory. Maybe it was a different type of thing. Just let me know. I'd love to know. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. That's my email address here. Send me that, because then we can share it, because it is all about sharing what we learn. Share what you learn does two things. One is it helps every other bugger out there, because it will come home to them. The other thing it does is, as you can share it just by pressing share on your thing and your thing on your player of choice, and that's good because they'll get that. And I'd love you to do that. But also just by talking to people, sharing what you've learned, because when you share it verbally, you learn it even deeper. You learn, if you've learnt it, that if you can articulate it, you've learnt it. But if you can't, maybe, okay, I've got to go back and redo it. Maybe I was a bit fluffy there. And what we're doing is, and this is the most important thing, we are using what is natural phenomena. Stimulus and response is just a natural thing that happens in the world, and we're using it for good. And wouldn't it be nice that everybody gets to be in the state they want to, disregarding what is happening around them? Because if they need to be in a better state, boom, we fire off the anger. Yeah, that would be great. So I hope I've articulated that in a good way. I hope that you're going to really give that a go. Give it a go, because I know, because it's so easy, doesn't take long, you can create wonderful emotional states of being inside you that are so positive. And then the effect of that will be even bigger on the things that you use it for, such as daydreaming, solving issues, thinking about the changes you want and how you're going to do that. How you're going to share this podcast to everybody. That's what it's all about. I do hope you enjoyed that. I do hope you're going to have more fun than you can stand. And if you think, what would it feel like to have more fun than I can stand, and we anchored that? Whoa, wouldn't it be good? We'd have happiness for a reason. And the reason is because it's there. So do have that more fun that you can stand. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here. Until the next time, my friend, let's fly.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.